Hello and welcome to all watching. My name is Debbie Archer and I'm delighted to be hosting this interview with Sarah, Savoy and Amanda Logue. This is another interview in the series that ISTQB have released of interviews regarding ISTQB women in testing. It's an important awareness campaign where women are sharing their insights and experience. Amanda, Sarah, can I ask you to introduce yourselves?
Absolutely. Hi, Debbie. Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Savoy. I am from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I'm the president of the Canadian Software Testing Board. I'm also the secretary in the ISTQB Executive Committee and the director of quality at EMIDS DLE and Macadamian.
Hi, and I'm Amanda Logue, and I'm located on the east coast of Canada. I've been a CSTB board member for about 5 years now, and my current title is the Director of Marketing. And I've also been involved at the Testing Body of Knowledge Working Group for the ISTQB for about 4 years. And I recently just started a new position at Atlantic Lottery as a senior test lead.
Thank you. This campaign is close to your hearts, I know, and you've been incredibly supportive. Can I ask why you felt so motivated to be involved?
Yeah, for me, I'm a single mom. I have 2 girls, so I just want to be a positive role model for them. I want to motivate them and show them basically that just because we're women, we can still do everything and we're independent.
Yeah, that sounds good for the same reasons. And also, I think it's really important to promote diversity across every field. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is important for so many reasons. And in particular, in software testing, it's really important, whether it's gender diversity, ethnic diversity, cultural diversity, other types of diversities. It really brings unique perspectives to the table and helps strengthen testing activities and test design in particular.
That's great. How did you come into a testing career, both of you?
For me, I kind of stumbled upon it, to be honest. When I graduated high school, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I went to university because that's what you're supposed to do, is go to university. And I did have fun for a couple of years, but it didn't really help my education much. And then I actually a friend of mine was taking a networking course. And it was like a networking service tech course. So I went to her school and I was there and I met the people and I was like, I could probably do that. So then I found a computer programming course at a tech college here and I took that. And so from there, I was an okay developer. I wasn't the best developer, I would say. And then the company I was working for at the time, we were starting to set up a QA team. We didn't have one. So I got involved in that, in the setup, and then I found my passion for testing.
Sarah?
Well, I dabbled in different topics and courses at university. Then I went to actually the community college and did a digital communications degree, and that was really my start working with computers. So then I went on and went into university in the computer science program, and I was doing the co-op program. So one of my terms, my placement was at a software testing services company, and I loved it. I loved it so much. I just continued working for them as I finished my degree, and then for many years after that. And I just stuck with software testing and quality assurance path for my whole career thus far.
So looking back to those days of study, doing computer-related, IT tech-related study, what kind of percentage male-female were there back then?
I was trying to find stats on that, and I didn't find anything really great to share. I think from my experience, I would estimate about 25% of my computer science classes were female identifying students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I would say for me, we were probably half and half. In our course. But do find now out in the field and working, I think on the software testing side, again, same as Sarah, I couldn't find stats or anything to prove it or whatever, but just from what I see in the companies that I'm at, on the software testing side, we're probably even. But on the developer side, I would say we would be the women identified less women on the developer side.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Have you any thoughts about why that might be the case? Why aren't more young girls seeking to enter tech job roles?
That's a great question.
I was chatting to Claudia Jussasiga from the CSTB about it, and we related it back to maybe earlier education, STEM, we call it in the UK, STEM education. I think in Germany she said it's MINT. So in Canada, is it something that girls typically tend to do when they're younger? Do they get involved with the computer science clubs? There's some great initiatives, Coding for Girls initiatives. There's some really good ones out there. So I just wonder why more don't perhaps follow this path through.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I do think there's probably some equal opportunity there, because we do have coding clubs, not specific just for female or male or anything like that. But there is coding for kids and things. You just, for me, my kids, they're very sport active, and they're less video gamers. I don't know if that would be a part of that or not.
Yeah, I think that's an observation, isn't it? What we experience as, we're growing up and playing with the games and what have you, perhaps sparks more of an interest in going down that development path. Looking at your early jobs and when you first started work, we, as women, we maybe have some different experiences. Tell me a little bit about those early days and how it was for you.
Well, in early days working, I mean, I think, before you have families and responsibilities that are quite common for everyone, you have the time to dedicate. You can travel easily, have the night business gatherings, and it's kind of a even playing field. And then as you kind of proceed in life, and if you do have children or other responsibilities, then that's a whole other challenge that you have to work out. And luckily there are organizations out there that recognize this and offer flexibility. I know where I work, we have quite flexible hours, so I just have to block off chunks in my calendar for school drop-off, school pickup appointments, and just work around that. So it's definitely doable, and works out great. And also remote working these days is very common, becoming more popular way of working, having either a hybrid approach to working remotely in an office or just remote first. And I'm really grateful that I am fortunate to be working at a company that has that. So it helps tremendously with being able to balance everything.
Amanda, we've touched on being a mother and working, and I know that you said earlier that it's something that motivates you to be a good role model to your daughters, which is awesome. How do you balance being a mom and working and having a career?
Yeah, a little sleep. Yeah, I don't know that. I often get that because like I said, my kids are really active in sports. So we go a lot. Like even our weekends are busy with a tournament here or there or wherever. So the balancing act isn't so great, to be honest. And I find a lot of the networking, and Sarah, you kind of spoke to this too, like a lot of those networking events and stuff, they're in the evenings, and me as a mom, I have a lot of guilt if I'm gone and doing that and I miss a game or or I have to shuffle my kids with someone else so that they can carpool, so they can get to practice, or there's a lot of juggling, I guess. Yeah, I don't know that I balance it well, to be honest.
So something that strikes me listening to both of you saying this is, if we were to give some advice to employers to say, look, you know, as women trying to balance family and work life, and I know there are a lot of men out there who are the main, you know, caregivers, but what advice would you give to employers to help women who do have to balance and juggle the schedules in this way?
Like Sarah said, those flex hours and your company just realizing that you have to get your kids to appointments, and you have events and you need to do pickup and drop off, but to be able to make up that time after hours, after the kids have gone to bed, you can log in and you can do what you want. The pandemic, as awful as it has been for a lot of people, I do think it's helped in that way for us, to be able to just balance out your time so that you can make it more flexible.
Yeah, I completely agree. And also I'll add to put emphasis and increased value on outcome rather than hours logged.
I think that's a really important point, outcome, absolutely. Talking about employers and workplace, one of the things that we often hear about is workplace bias. Often subconscious, people not realizing perhaps that their behaviors are not what we perhaps would expect or want. And of course, that goes far deeper than gender bias. You know, Sarah, you touched on this earlier. But you know, how do you think some of this affects women in the workplace? You know, as an example, job adverts, you know, sometimes I look at job adverts and I think, you know, the wording in those job adverts, it feels a little bit male orientated about confidence and strength and what have you. And things that, you know, I'd like to see as a woman in a job advert about flexibility and what have you, are sometimes just not there, and it might put me off a little bit. How have you found that aspect of things?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah, so true about job advertisements, and it's hard to know exactly what to change so that it's appealing for the diverse set of people that you want to have in and candidates. But I think removing the emphasis on that strong personality, and thinking, you know, valuing someone who's talking a lot or talking loud or really so extroverted. I think that we have to really learn to acknowledge, recognize, appreciate all different personalities and know the strengths that everyone brings. I think that's important. And I don't know exactly what wording that would to change in job postings, but for sure there's work to be done there, I think.
Mm-hmm. Amanda, your experience is similar to Sarah's, where you've seen perhaps job adverts and you thought, no, that doesn't sound as though that's necessarily aimed at a working mum, as an example.
Yeah, I have, but I think I would encourage everyone, even though you see that, to apply anyway. Just because it might not be perfect for you, apply, because maybe they are flexible, but they just don't have it they're not selling themselves correctly.
Do you know, one of the observations I have when I'm looking at CVs and I'm trying to kind of, you know, work out who's got the type of skill I'm looking for, is sometimes when I, you know, have an application from a mum, I think, okay, I know that time management is probably a strength there. I know that actually creating plans and scheduling is probably a strength there, because I do feel that, you know, it's one of the things that we just have to do and we have to get good at. Otherwise, it'd perhaps be a little bit of chaos. So, you know, maybe one of the things that, you know, from a woman's point of view could be important is, how do we structure a CV? What are the type of things that we can highlight, that, you know, things that are real strengths that we don't pull out about ourselves, maybe sometimes. Be something certainly I'd like to know a little bit more about. How, as a woman, can I create a really good CV? Maybe it's nice to Kibi can look at doing something in the series on at some point. How do we create one of those standout CVs that, again, just gives us a little bit more confidence? It's not just about the technical.
Yeah, and really emphasize the competencies, soft skills, and yeah, the technical can be learned. It's the other skills that really takes time, and yeah, I agree.
And again, within the workplace, and thinking about this subconscious bias, which I've read a lot about recently. From a professional development and a progression point of view, do you think that there are different conversations that happen between male and female, men, women, different members of the team? Do you think that perhaps we don't seize the opportunities as women sometimes within the organisation? And when we're putting together that professional development plan where we're seeing the opportunities to progress, do you think sometimes we're not really putting ourselves out there enough?
Yes, I do, for sure. And I think it's not limited to just women, but I think imposter syndrome is a term that's really been around and used quite often. I know in the last couple of years, I just learned about that term and heard it for the first time, and it's come up in discussion with friends and colleagues. And when I heard it and heard what it was about, it really blew my mind that this was so common that it had a term. Like I have definitely experienced that self-doubt and the feeling like I might not be as competent as other people think I am. And I think that it seems like that's quite a common feeling. So recognizing that, I know for me, it helped me build self-confidence, and hopefully having these conversations will help others as well.
Yeah. It's really that this has come up a couple of times now, and it's amazing how many of us have felt this thing called Imposter Syndrome. And as I understand it, you've kind of got two axes here. You've got perceived ability and actual ability, and I think with Imposter Syndrome, you're somewhere along that kind of. I just don't think I've got the actual ability, and I don't perceive that. It's really an interesting one. How do you think that we can overcome that and grow that confidence that you've just described, Sarah?
I think having the discussions and just realize, like through those discussions, realizing that you're not alone. I think for me that went a long way.
Mm-hmm. And I think too, getting the feedback from your coworkers and your management as well, like that helps. And it's hard to balance on you need to get out of your comfort zone, but how far is too far? So I think your management is there to support you in those decisions and to help you with that and provide guidance.
Ask for feedback. Sometimes the feedback is really important, because when you ask the feedback, you find that actually you've done a really good job and things are really good, and it just gives you that extra confidence to know next time I can go a little bit further perhaps and really start to develop. Were there role models for both of you in the workplace that you looked up to or who helped and supported you?
I've had many managers and directors, either people that I directly reported to or that I've worked closely with in organizations, and I really kind of leverage my time with them and try to learn as much as possible.
Yes, same as Sarah. I've had a few managers that have really helped guide my career. And I guess for me, maybe they provided that feedback and said, you're really good at this, and really pushed me in certain directions. And that to me was a big help.
And you're both managing people, I think, in your workplaces?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, as managers of the test team, are there things which you perhaps think are really important to share, and how to manage a diverse team?
I think it's really important to build a connection with people. So that's the first thing I like to do when somebody new comes on the team. Have those one-on-ones, get that relationship building going, and I think that's really the most important thing. And then continuous and authentic conversations with them, and openness, sharing feedback when it comes in, and just just want to know people on the real level.
Yeah, similar as Sarah, and just to push them, I find really important, right? Like just to provide that guidance. And I guess because that's what was given to me, I like to be able to pass that down and give that back.
So women in testing is the theme of this series of interviews. And I can imagine that there are young women who might be watching thinking, I really want to follow a career in testing, quality assurance. How do I do this? You know, how do I really make it a career? What advice would you offer to women who are starting in their career, or women who are at a point in their career where they're thinking now, how do I progress?
For me, I would say just go for it. Like, don't hold back, don't hesitate, and go for it. You are going to have bumps along the road, but you're going to learn. Everybody learns. We're all still learning every day. So don't think you need to have all the answers to start out. Just keep going.
You don't need to know everything, do you? That's one of the things that I think a lot of us fall into the trap of. I need to know everything, and until I know everything, I don't know anything. And that's not the case at all. It's continuous learning that matters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sarah.
absolutely. I agree with what Amanda said, and especially continuous learning, always keep growing and developing yourself, and also just stay true to yourself as well. Do what you're doing to the best of your abilities, to the highest quality that you can, and you'll go far.
And when you hit those tough spots where you think it's not going the right direction, it's not happening for me, what type of coping mechanisms have you had perhaps when that's happened?
Well, I think with software testing and quality assurance, the path actually can lead many different ways. So if you're taking one path, if you've been doing one particular type of testing that you're focusing on, look what else is out there. Maybe there's something else that might invigorate you or spark that passion again.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was going to say something similar. Like, there's so many different avenues that you can take. So jump in wherever you think if you think you might be interested, try it. What's it going to hurt? Nothing. So just go for it.
We touched on the technical skills earlier, and Sarah, I think you said you can learn the technical side. So how do you go about learning?
Well, you can study and take training, get certifications, and also doing work on the side. If you're not able to do some hands-on practice with what you're learning in your job, then take time on your own, do a personal project, and just keep reading what's out there and being curious.
Yeah, there's lots of blogs and obviously ISTB certifications, which we obviously support. And you can also try to do an internship if that's, maybe you can get your foot in that way and get some more experience.
Looking back, what would you say to your younger self about your career in testing?
Probably that you're going to be okay at it. Yeah. Say the same. Like, I would have struggled with the same things. I don't know that I would have had the confidence in myself in this beginning, and so just to trust myself.
Mm-hmm. Yes, keep doing what you're doing. You're on the right path.
Absolutely. So, thinking about who might be watching our recording today, have you got any final words of advice for women who are interested in a testing career?
For me, I guess I kind of said, like, go for it. I think there's a lot of opportunities for women in software testing. I think we have a wide range of soft skills that are really important to software testing. So put yourself out there, do some studying, do some training. If you need an internship, whatever, just start and try and put one foot in front of the other. There's many opportunities out there right now for us.
Yeah, I agree. And probably people are more equipped to start in the field than they feel like they are. So go for it. You already have many of the skills, of the soft skills that are needed. So yeah, take that step forward, and you can do it.
Thank you both so much for your time today. It's really insightful, and I hope anybody who's listening feels very motivated and inspired by that. I know that's been really interesting for me to hear your story, so thank you very, very much. I'm sure that this will be posted on the ISTB social media, so we'd encourage other women to share their stories. And thank you very much again, both of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks for having us, Debbie.